Okay, here we go. Welcome to this episode of the Pod De Deux podcast. I am your host, Michael Mahany. Now, we've got some very exciting stuff to start out with here today before we get to our guest. As you may have heard, we are starting today with our very first episode of the summer series that we're calling, tentatively, The Women of Broadway, which is focusing on the most badass female choreographers on Broadway's boards this year. Now, this season particularly was a very unprecedented year where of the 14 new musicals that came in or were scheduled to come to the Great White Way this year, 10 were choreographed by 9 different women, which means one person, Sonia Taye, choreographed 2 musicals, which is crazy. Nothing like that has ever happened before. But before I get too deep into the woods on this, I want to introduce to you some very exciting people who will be joining us for this series. We're bringing on a couple of pretty amazing folks. Let me introduce them to you now. There they are. That is Kevin Michael Raponey and Ellyn Marie Marsh, 2 of my favorite 3 named people. Kevin, a legacy.
A legacy.
Kevin and I have been fortunate enough to share a dressing room at Rock of Ages at New World Stages now for almost a year prior to the COVID-19 shutdown. And at Rock of Ages, Kevin is our assistant dance captain and one of our amazing swings. He has been all over the United States and New York City with shows like Nice Work If You Can Get It, Legally Blonde, and so many more. He's not only one of the funniest people I know, but he is one of the hardest working people I know and one of the greatest guys I know. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kevin Michael Raponey. There he is.
Hey.
Right there. Hey.
Mikey, you're so sweet to me.
No. Ellyn Marie Marsh. Now, she, on top of being one of the other funniest people and coolest people on Broadway, has been seen in shows like most recently The Rose Tattoo, which is a play. She does plays and musicals, and also Enron, which is also a play. Very, very awesome. She was in Pretty Woman, Kinky Boots, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and as I mentioned before, Enron. Ellyn is also the host of Broadway Trivia, which is now called Trivia Mania, which you can find live every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Theater Mania's Facebook and YouTube page. She also just released a brand new web series on YouTube called Gallery View, which is making fun of exactly what we're doing right here, meetings on Zoom. So make sure you check that out. Please welcome to the show, Ellyn Marie Marsh.
Oh, thank you. That was a great introduction, Mikey.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here, you guys. I'm so excited for you to share with everyone your brands of intelligence and comedy. I think it's going to bring a lot of fun to the series. Now, let's get on to the business here. So this series, The Women of Broadway, as I said, is to celebrate this incredibly huge year on Broadway in terms of dance because of the unprecedented crack in the glass ceiling that happened for female Broadway choreographers. Now, since there isn't a Tony Awards show this year because it was postponed to the fall or maybe even later due to the pandemic, we want to celebrate those choreographers' work. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're here to try to interview all 9 of the women who were supposed to choreograph or did choreograph Broadway shows this year. Now, not long ago, I published a piece over on my blog, NYC Dance News and Culture, which you can check out. Please do if you haven't. It's definitely worth a read. But I want to give you some quick statistics before we bring in our first guest, who is Lorin Latarro. Latarro? What do you think?
Tear.
What do you think? Should we take a bet? I think a bet.
I'm going with Latarro.
I've heard both from people who've worked with her, and I'm just gonna say Tear.
Sarah, my wife Sarah said Latarro. I said Latarro too, but we'll see. We'll ask her. Before we bring on Lorin, I just want to give you a couple of statistics for Broadway choreographers that are female. This is based on statistics of the Tony Award for Best Choreography. So I'll let you guys guess the answers to these questions. So there's been, this year would have been the 74th annual, I think, Tony Awards. One Tony Award, the 1985 Tonys, there was not a Tony for Best Choreography because there wasn't an eligible candidate. So there has been 72 opportunities to have won a Tony Award for Best Choreography. Of those 72 opportunities, how many times do you think the winner of that was a woman? Any guess?
22.
Ooh, okay. Kevin?
9.
Kevin, if we were playing Price is Right rules, would have won. The answer is 12. But that's insane. It's 16% of the time out of 72
It's
opportunities.
not enough. Yeah.
Only 12, the winner has been a woman. So here's a question for you too. In how many times do you think the entire nominee field has been all women? Of those 72 times, all of the nominees for it for the award have been all women. How many times?
1.
Kevin?
2.
Right, Ellyn, 1. One time.
It was 1.
Wow.
One
wow.
It was
time.
1.
In the year 2000.
I was gonna say it couldn't be 0, so
No.
I was just shooting with 1.
Yeah, it's 1. Yeah, of 72 times, only once has the field been all women. And so get this, how many times has it been all men? 16. 16 years there have been an all
that
male
tracks.
field. 4 of
Makes
those
sense.
years, 4 of those years have been in the last decade. Okay.
Yeah.
Last
that tracks.
question. Of the 12 women, or of the 12 female winners for the Tony for Best Choreography, how many different women do you think have won the Tony?
Oh, that's so good.
So to considering like multiple winners
Yeah.
of the same person, how many times, or how many different
I
women?
feel like I know a few choreographers who have won multiple times. So now I'm thinking
Yeah.
like I'm gonna go back to my 9.
Okay.
Okay. I was
Like
gonna
9
go with
different
5,
ones.
but 5 seems so low bally. I'm gonna go 5. I said Bali.
Bali. Let's go. I like Bali. The answer is 7. Only 7 different women have won in 72 chances to have won the Tony for Best Choreography.
That's embarrassing.
7. So 12 times
Wow.
the winner has been a woman, but only 7 different women have won it, which means there's 2 women that have won 5 of them, which is they've won 7. Susan Stroman and Kathleen Marshall together have won 5. Stro, I think, won 4, and Kathleen Marshall's won 3, meaning the other 5 awards have gone to Twyla Tharp, Anne Ranking, Jillian Gregory, Helen Tamiris, and Agnes DeMille, who won, tied with Michael Kidd in 1947 for the very first Tony Award for Best Choreography for her choreography work on Brigadoon. Crazy.
Wow.
So, 7
First of
different
all,
women in all these
That's
years.
amazing research, Mikey, number 1. And that's just like, that's just when you really, really hear the numbers, that's so embarrassing.
It's crazy.
Like you just know that there are not a lot of women, but then when you really you can't argue numbers, you know?
It's
Yeah.
absolutely I have a lot of time on my hands here.
I guess so.
But you know what? I unearthed some news that needed to be
Yeah.
celebrated, or well, not celebrated, to be pointed out.
Yeah, sure.
This year we are here to celebrate that, and to do that, we're going to interview as many of those 9 different women as we can, starting today with our very first guest, who is Lorin Latarro. We're going to find out right now. Let's bring her on. There we go. Kevin,
What?
I know you're for. Give us a little. Give us some Lorin Latarro. Oh yeah. By the way, we talked about this earlier.
Oh yeah.
We took.
We've
bets
had a
on this.
whole conversation about this.
I was saying Latarro. I was saying Latarro. That's what everybody was going with. I think that was the consensus among everyone. What? Can you give us a definitive answer right now, Latarro?
Me, I don't care. My real last name is Latarro, and I cut it in half. So it's really it's whatever anybody wants it to be.
It is
so
very
Latarro.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's the definitive answer. Okay, Kevin, take it away. Give us
Oh
a
my God, I'm obsessed.
rundown.
I'm obsessed. All right. Lortel, Esther, Drama Desk, and Chita Rivera Award nominated Broadway choreographer Lorin Latarro is seemingly unstoppable right now. After her huge hit Waitress closed last December after an amazing 4-year run, Lorin is back on Broadway this season as the dance creator behind one of Broadway's most anticipated new musicals, Mrs. Doubtfire.
On top of all that, Latarro has recently worked on or been announced as the choreographer for the Goodman's production of The Outsiders, the Public Theater's new musical, The Visitor, the movie-turned-musical Almost Famous, the Huey Lewis and the News musical, The Heart of Rock and Roll, the Public Theater's 12th Night, Roundabout Theater Company's revival of Merrily We Roll Along, and even at the opera with the recent restaging of La Traviata at the Met.
And on top of all of that, she is a Juilliard trained dancer who, before becoming choreographer, was a veteran of 14 Broadway shows. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Pod De Deux podcast, Lorin Latarro. Yes, there she is. Oh my God, you've done so many things, all the things in the world.
All the things.
When you first, Kevin, by the way, I forgot that opening section said Lortel and a stare. I thought you were doing the joke thing where you were saying her name was Lortel Astaire.
This is Lorin Latarro.
Far too clever. Okay. All right, Lorin. So let's get right into it. Mrs. Doubtfire. That's what you've been working on this season. That's what's on Broadway right now for you prior to the pandemic industry-wide shutdown that we're all dealing with right now, which has personally affected you in a lot of ways, which we'll get to in a few. But give us a little bit of the insight about Mrs. Doubtfire. It's obviously a huge thing. So much excitement around the show right now. But tell us what it's been like getting the show to Broadway, what it was like working on the show out of town in Seattle, getting it to the city, and then also the opportunity for you to work with Jerry Zaks, who's a legend in the business.
Yeah, I mean, the show is wonderful. It takes what the movie was and makes it even more empathetic. It's so funny. It's even funnier than the movie. Everything you love about the movie is there, but it does what a musical can only do, which is once people start singing, it kicks the emotions up like another 10 notches. So I keep saying, like, when you walk in with your family, you will leave being a closer family. And when you walk in just you will leave holding someone near to you as family that you didn't think of as family prior to coming to see the show. The show is very powerful that way, but it's also really funny. And Jerry Zaks is directing the show. You know, the man has more Tony Awards than, I mean, it's like a lot, it's crazy. And he's so wonderful and so smart, and he understands how to sort of juice out the most out of something that's funny. So between him and Rob McClure, you know, the two of them, we laugh constantly at rehearsals and in previews. And I can't wait to get back into a theater where you hear like that entire audience, that uproarious laughter where everyone's laughing together. So I'm looking very forward to it. The show's really special.
Yeah, totally. We all feel the same way. Cannot wait to get back into that room with all those people celebrating this art form that we love so much. Now, obviously, the shutdown has affected Broadway in a way that it never has before. You have a personal connection to all of this. Your husband is a doctor and on the front lines of all of the treatment and everything that's happening right now. And you have a very active social media presence, and you've shared some of that with the people that follow you. But I'm just curious, you know, on your end, what's it been like having the show stop and sort of Broadway ground to a halt, but at the same time?
I mean, it was crazy. You know, we had 3 previews and they were all going so well. And by that 3rd preview, there was really a buzz in the air that, you know, something was going down. And, you know, my husband was like, you know, I think you guys are going to get shut down. I think Cuomo was going to shut down the city. And, you know, it all felt like the right thing to do. So, I mean, it was like surreal, you know, you're in the middle of rehearsal, and then you stop rehearsal, you gather the cast. It was around 3:00. You know, we just stopped what we were doing, and we basically, you know, said, we love you all, and, you know, go home and take care of your families, and we'll let you know when we're back, but it's going to be at least 4 weeks. And of course, 4 weeks has turned into something longer once we are starting to figure out what all this means. And then meanwhile, you know, they stopped surgeries at the hospitals across the city. My husband's at Mount Sinai. So, you know, the first step was like, okay, I'm not going to work either. They stopped all surgeries. All surgeries are canceled across the board. And then within a few days, it was clear that they were going to need all hands on deck. So he's a neurosurgeon, the whole surgery team basically rotated into COVID because they have, I guess, a similar training for what this is. They're sort of equipped for ICU kind of help. So yeah, so, we moved out of the house, and my daughter and I have a 2-year-old daughter. So we packed up. Luckily, my sister is not in her apartment right now. She's out of town. So we like camped out in her apartment, which was crazy, which was fun, but it's like not baby proofed. And, I went from being a full-time working mom to a full-time stay-at-home mom. And it was a little like, whoa, oh my God. Oh my God, just get me back to work. Where's the nanny? So it was but then after like a week, it's been very special, very, very special time for my daughter and I, to be completely honest. But it definitely took like a week of whiplash to like, oh my God, what is happening?
Yeah.
And now I'm back home. So the COVID ICU has gone down enough in volume that they don't need the extra doctors. So, he tested negative. We came back home, and now we're just cooking and cleaning.
I was going to say,
hanging
your
out.
sister is either a very supportive sister with the moving out and the American Idiot posters on her wall, or
I know,
your
I thought
daughter-
that too.
I'm back home. Yeah.
I thought that same thing. I was like, what a nice sister. It's like a little cheering
I came home.
section.
Yeah, well, and Ellyn can speak to this too. She's a mother, but I can't imagine having kids during this and having to sort of, I don't know how old your daughter is, Lorin, but I don't know if you're like at the place. So obviously you're not explaining in detail to what is going on, but having to sort of navigate kids in this time has got to be something that's I don't know. I literally don't know. What do you?
Yeah, Ellyn, you probably have it a little harder, just the explanation of it all, the understanding of it. My daughter just like, oh, cool, we get to wear masks. Like she's just
Right.
So she's just happy mom and dad are around,
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's positives and negatives to having a younger one and an older one, because the younger one needs so much more, Arda needs so much more attention, and, that's such a difficult age. But again, the explaining something to someone that age is so complicated, I would imagine. But I feel for I feel for all the moms that are with toddlers right now, because it's the hardest age.
It's relentless.
It really is. Oh,
relentless. Okay, so we covered that. We've talked a lot about the pandemic, but this is a show about dance, and we want to talk about what we do and what we all love. So on Mrs. Doubtfire, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the choreography. And we talked a little bit about this in a piece that I wrote for Dance Network a couple months ago about the choreography, but there are so many styles in this show. I mean, flamenco and, partnering, tap, all kinds of so many different things. How did you go about creating this and finding the inspiration to create all this choreography? I mean, it's such a wide.
Oh, thanks. The music really, the writers of the book, Carrie and Wayne Kirkpatrick, I mean, they wrote all these different sort of styles of music inside the show, and it just called for these different things. And I think so the music really led the way. And then, I mean, I brought on for the flamenco sequence, I choreographed a version of it. By myself. I took a semester of flamenco at Juilliard. So it was like, but it wasn't, it's a comedy sketch. So we sort of like loosely based it on flamenco. And then once we got back to New York, after we'd choreographed that in Seattle, I brought on a flamenco expert she came in and just spent like 2 hours with us, just like helping with style and like, oh, maybe if you did this rhythm, this might be more exciting. So she sort of came in, and Ariel Rosales is her name. And she came in, and we gave her credit in the playbill just to like make sure that I didn't want it to feel not authentic in any way. So I just wanted an expert in there to help me out. So that's how the flamenco, the version you're seeing in New York, I'm very, very proud of, because it feels like a beautiful marriage of something real and something theatrical that I just sort of dreamt up. The other stuff, it's like, the tapping is something that I do, and MJ, my associate, is a phenomenal tapper, and there's tons of partnering. I mean, you say disco, I say yeah. So I mean, like the disco stuff is like my favorite, And some of it's like the postmodern kind of stuff that I do. There's a lot of subtle movement in there. And then there's even some hip hop. So, just sort of pulling out the old tricks, just sort of doing stuff I love and listening to the music very closely and sort of deciding what kind of movement works with the music.
Right. That's awesome. Did you have a chance to sort of explore a lot when you were in Seattle with it, or did you? I mean, as far as your process is concerned, do you go into the room and come into the first day with everything done, or are you building?
I did about 2 weeks of pre-pro. I really enjoy pre-pro. I like getting my friends in the room, dancers in the room, no pressure from the director or the producers or anything, just tabula rasa, sort of like, what is this from the beginning? And then that way I can build dance breaks that I'm interested in building by myself, and then I can propose the idea to a director, and it works well for me, because then an idea is shaped already by the time I walk in the room, and then the director can finesse it and manipulate it and help change it. And of course everything changes once we're in the room, but I never walk into the room with nothing done unless the director specifically asks for that. There are certain directors who really want everything done in the room, and I'm down with that. That's awesome, as long as I know the director is willing to be to hang out while we create things. Not everybody wants to do that.
Also, and Travis Waldschmidt is an old buddy of mine. I love that guy, and he is your swing and your dance captain, right?
Yes.
And Kevin is a swing and a dance captain. So I don't. Kevin, talk a little bit about the idea of coming in, learning something that's brand new versus learning something that's already established. I mean, what's your take on all of this? How do you think you would approach this if you were going into the room, like working on something like this?
I think what Lorin said is right. I think pre-pro is so fun. I mean, getting in the room and creating with a choreographer is just probably my favorite part of the process. I think getting in the room and feeling different vibes and different beats, and did you hear that drum rhythm? And somebody might not hear something that the choreographer hears, and it's kind of like a step in the right direction when creating a masterpiece. And as for being a dance captain, I think learning from people who have set the bar before you, ahead of you, is the greatest experience that somebody could have in theater. It's just constantly learning, not only from your choreographer, but learning from your castmates as well.
Right. It's such a collaborative way of working, which I think is the coolest way to do it. All right. We are going to take a quick break, but before we do that, we're introducing a quick little game here on the Pod De Deux podcast that we're calling the Hot Take, which is basically just a fun game of this or that. And it's hopefully a little bit more interesting, and it provides some more random details for people out there who might be interested in learning more about Lorin Latarro, or also Kevin Michael Raponey and Ellyn Marie Marsh. So it's like literally 30 seconds long, but here we go. So rapid fire. The only rule to this game is that you cannot think. You just have to answer.
Okay.
And Kevin and Ellyn, let Lorin answer, but so you get like an extra second and a half to think about
Okay.
it. Okay. So here we go. All right. 10 rapid fire questions. Here we go. This is a great one to start with for Kevin too. All right, Lorin. Heels or flats?
Heels.
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 Yes, Kevin. All right. Wine or a cocktail?
Wine.
Cocktail.
Wine.
Nice. Wine for me too. Would you rather read the book or see the movie?
Read the book.
Movie.
Movie.
Voracious reader. I wish I was. I'm not. My wife is though. Summer Monday. Are you in the Poconos in the mountains, or are you at the beach in the Hamptons?
I'm at the beach.
Mountains.
Beach.
Yes. Cook at home or go to dinner at a restaurant?
Ugh, restaurants. I can't wait for restaurants.
So much cooking.
No more cooking.
I know it's not fair to ask
Who
that
eats
question
3
right now.
meals a day? Restaurant.
Yeah, restaurant for me as well.
Ultimately, West Coast or East Coast?
Oh, East Coast. East Coast all the way.
That's a tough one for me. I was born on the West Coast, lived on the East Coast. I don't know. Probably West Coast.
I haven't spent enough time in the West Coast, and I'm watching Brothers and Sisters right now, and they live in Ojai, and like it's my dream. But I think I'm an East Coast boy.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat with Ellyn. I was born in Los Angeles, living in New York for a whole long time now, and back in LA right now. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I think maybe West Coast. All right, snacks. Are you a salty person or a sweet person?
Sweet.
Salty.
Of course you are, Kevin. No shock.
Give me those chips.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
I knew I loved all of you. If you're drinking coffee, are you drinking hot coffee or iced coffee?
Hot coffee, even in the hottest days of the summer.
Iced even in the coldest days of winter.
Iced during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love hot coffee too, but I've recently been on that iced coffee kick. Okay, last one. 3 albums you cannot live without. If you're taking them on a desert island, 3 albums you got to take with you.
Ooh. Oh, I hate this question.
Oh,
okay,
gosh,
I'd say Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder. Joni Mitchell, Blue. And I don't know. I mean, like, I'd have to bring along something Broadway. I mean, but I'm a cornball. Like, you might find me with, like, you know, I did Man of La Mancha, like Man of La Mancha cast album, or like
the Brian Stokes Mitchell one, though.
Romance cast album.
I love that album. Alison Fraser.
Awesome.
Yes. Kevin, Ellyn.
I hate this one. I'm really definitely going to say Coldplay's Parachutes.
Oh, okay.
Joni Mitchell Blue. I mean, you can't. I mean, like, if you need, please. And I want to say something old school Whitney Houston, like hit after hit, bop after bop, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know.
That's
those
good.
are mine.
That's so tough. I would say like a Prince Purple Rain.
Ooh. Oh, good one.
And a Mariah Carey music box moment, maybe. And then I'm gonna go Broadway, and my favorite Broadway album is the Aida album.
Ooh.
So I think I would.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Jump on that
were you
train.
in that? Were you in Aida?
No.
And that's coming
you just
back.
throw out a show, and Lauren was probably in it.
Lauren's probably been in it. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's a pretty good guess that she was in it or she's choreographed it at this point.
Yeah, I know.
For me, let's say I would have to go John Mayer Greatest Hits, just like compilation mixtape album.
Mm-hmm.
A mixtape.
Yeah. I would have to go Garth Brooks, the crossword puzzle album, which I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm an old school, like, grew up listening to country music. Isn't that weird?
I love country too.
And then if I was going to take a Broadway album, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think I would choose Rent, because that was like the musical of my high school. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like a Rent head per se, but I was definitely like the kid that was belting, Don't Breathe Too Deep while driving windows down on the freeway in high school.
Totally.
Okay, so got Lauren's hot take. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from CUNY has an amazing program called the CDI program. And then when we come back, we're going to play a little mini Broadway trivia hosted by Broadway Trivia's own Ellyn Marie Marsh. So we'll see you back in 2 minutes on the other side. We'll be right back.
Hey listeners, it's Clara here.
And it is Michael.
Choreographers, raise your hand if you could use more time, space, and money to create your work.
Oh my, it's like every hand in the city just went up. Like what? 1, 2 million hands?
All of them. And we can see them all from our tiny
too.
windowless recording studio. All the fingers.
Okay, maybe not.
We all know the answer is all of you.
So, enter the CUNY Dance Initiative, or CDI. CDI is a residency program that opens the doors of City University of New York campuses to professional choreographers across New York City's 5 boroughs. They can offer you free space to create, teach, and perform, as well as financial support.
CDI has already helped over 130 local artists launch new work, develop new audiences, and establish new relationships with NYC performing arts centers.
And you know what? You could be next.
Actually, Michael, we've interviewed a ton of CDI resident choreographers over the years, I think during your tenure and before. And I will say they're just always such innovators in the dance community, and they're a really diverse collection of artists.
Yeah, so many incredible choreographers. You and I had the chance to talk with Tiffany Mills last year. We'll never, of course, forget Jess's awesome interview with 2019 Bessie Award winner, tap dancer Caleb Teicher.
And a while ago, we talked to Efrata Sherry, who's a B-girl and a house dancer. We talked to Annabella Lanzu, Benny Royce Royan. We even got to interview the director of CUNY Dance Initiative, Alyssa Alpine.
And you can find all of those interviews and more at podde.com, as well as Podde on iTunes. Now, missing this once-a-year application to be a CDI resident is heartbreaking. So do not let it happen to you. Make sure you jump over to the website, cuny.edu/dance initiative, and join their email list. And check out the homepage for application alerts, insider ticket discounts, and so much more. And if you just love dance, make sure you follow at CDI_dance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay.
Back to the pod.
Oh, welcome back. Thanks for listening to that ad from CUNY's CDI program. It is time to play a little Broadway trivia, which Ellyn Marie Marsh is going to host. Now, you can also catch Ellyn hosting Broadway Trivia every Thursday night, by the way, live on Theater Mania's YouTube and Facebook page. So, Ellyn, how are we going to do this?
So why don't you and Kevin be a team, and you guys play against Lauren?
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
That sounds good.
It's not
That's
very fair. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lauren, but
It's a smoker and some Broadway
No,
trivia.
two
but
brains
that's
against
fine.
one. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
All right, here's how we play. I'll ask each team a question. You get a few seconds to come up with the answer. If you don't know it, the other team can steal. First to 3 points win. We good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Easy.
All right, we're going to start with Lauren. Lauren, here's your first question. Who choreographed the 2016 Broadway musical that played the Brooks Atkinson Theater, featuring a score by Sarah Bareilles and featured Jessie Mueller as a pie-serving waitress?
I think that was me. That's a trick question.
Yes, Lauren.
I feel like Rocky in Rocky 3.
Okay. This better be like which two people that on the Pod De Deux podcast are in the company of Rock of Ages. That better be this question that you're going to give us right now.
Yeah. that's
It's
only
very
fair.
close. Okay, so Kevin and Michael, first question. What theater did the 1947 production of Allegro play?
What?
And
The
This is a simple question.
1947
Yeah.
production of Allegro?
yeah, maybe if my grandmother was here, she could help me out. Come
Simple
on.
questions. Simple question.
I don't know.
Michael, I don't know. I'm sorry.
The Palace. Was that even there in 1947? I don't know.
I mean, Lauren, do you want to steal?
I don't know.
Yeah, totally. You guys, it's the Majestic Theater.
It's the Majestic Theater.
I should have known.
You knew that? You didn't know
Beauty
that.
and brains.
Okay.
Okay, question back to Lauren.
I'm
Which
angry about this.
2020 choreographer made their Broadway debut in the 1999 production of Kiss Me, Kate?
Oh my God. Ellyn.
Come on.
I will tell you, actually, even though it's not on IMDb, Kiss Me, Kate was actually my second Broadway show.
Oh.
The first Broadway show I ever did was in 1999. Also, it was Swing.
Oh.
Why is that not on IMDb?
I don't know why. And I'm
I
not sure
saw
Fosse's on there
Swing.
either. Yeah, Kiss Me, Kate was my third show. Swing
Oh.
was my first. Fosse was my second. Kiss Me, Kate was my third.
Wow. Oh, so can we steal? No. That's not
We got it. It was Swing.
It was Swing, 1999. Okay.
I
The
love
answer is
Swing. I
clearly
saw that
no.
on Broadway.
Yeah, and that was the year, by the way, which we'll get to in a little bit. 2000, the 2000 Tony Awards was the only year, other than maybe what would have been 2020, where the entire field of choreographer nominees for the Tony Award for Best Choreographer were all women, which
That's
never-
wild.
which has never happened before. It was Lynn Taylor
Wow.
Corbett, Susan
Wild.
Stroman,
And guess who directed
Kathleen.
Swing?
Jerry Zaks.
Jerry Zaks.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
We
how
should get a
full
point for me
circle.
knowing that.
Isn't that crazy?
That
Full
is very
circle.
crazy.
cool. Very,
That
very
is
cool.
beautifully full circle. Okay, over to Michael and Kevin,
Here we go.
who are now down 3 points. Which means
Rude.
if you don't get this and Lauren steals the answers, you guys are done. You
We
guys
should
are
just
out.
go home.
It's done. You're gonna go
Oh,
home
wait, we are
and
home.
it's canceled. Who wrote the 1925 play A Lady's Virtue?
Laurin Latarro. Because she's done everything else.
Lauren.
Listen, I I'm not
Lorin
that old.
Latarro.
Lorin Latarro's uncle's mom. Did I get it?
I have no William friggin' Shakespeare. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, Lauren, do you want to steal?
Lauren
Lauren,
is
you
gonna
know
know
It was
this.
Rachel Carruthers, you guys.
No.
You guys, you are literally
I feel
horrible.
like I'm being set up.
This is a setup. This is an absolute setup.
Okay, fine. For the last question, this will be all in. So whoever answers this question first wins. They get 27,000 points and they won the game.
Okay. All right.
Okay. For the group, how many performances did Awe Wilderness play in its Broadway debut in 1933? This is pretty easy, guys. This is a gimme.
Is it? Is it?
14. I don't know.
Lauren knows it. I can tell.
I'm going to take a guess.
Take a guess.
289.
289.
No! Come
Come on. This
Oh,
is
this is
rigged.
the best game ever.
Somebody
Lauren,
is cheering very loudly.
Someone's
for
cheering
you.
for that
she's
289.
talented. She's smart. Oh, thanks for indulging me, guys.
Oh my
All
god,
right.
that was absolutely ridiculous and 100% a setup. I know it.
I don't know what.
Okay.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you don't. Okay. let's get us back on track here, so we can wrap this out. If people are still listening to me babble on about this, I'm sure they're all in for Lorin Latarro and Ellyn Marie Marsh and Kevin Michael Raponey, but I have been talking too much. So getting us back on track here. Take us back to the beginning of your career, Lorin. How did you find your way to dance initially?
Can you hear me? My daughter's screaming in the background. You
Yeah.
might be able to hear it.
Do you need
We
to
can
go
hear
check on her? Do you need to if you need to do
Can you
something?
hear her?
Yeah, but that's okay.
It's all right.
It's
love it.
okay.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
a mom.
Okay. So the question was about how I got started.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was always dancing. Like even before I ever took a dance lesson, I was telling people I was going to be a dancer. And I'm not sure if that's just what every little girl does. You know what I mean? Or it was like, my husband says that basically I can't do anything else. He feels like an alien spaceship came down, pushed me out and said, dance, you know? It's just like, I literally have no other skills. So I just was always dancing. And then I used to like skip school in high school and take a bus from Jersey to Broadway Dance Center to take dance classes, and I started training in ballet in the city. And then I basically skipped school without telling my parents and auditioned for Juilliard. And then I got a call back, then I had to tell them.
You skipped school to audition?
Yeah, my junior year.
They say a woman who behaves never makes history. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you
Breaking
go.
the rules. That's awesome. I love that story. That's awesome.
Well, not only did you get a call back, you got into Juilliard, which is
Yeah, I don't know how, because I had a lot of passion and I was trained well, but I did not have the ballet technique that everybody else in my class had. And I got in somehow despite that. I think I choreographed my solos. They liked my solos. Like I think they thought I had some spunk. But my freshman year, they made me take 2 ballet classes a day and do 100 tendus into a bath of hot water every night.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like remedial Juilliard student my whole freshman year.
Oh my God. Wow. That's so okay. Wow,
I
That's
think that
like center
actually-
stage.
Yeah,
So
Oh,
serious.
totally.
This is totally center stage for me.
totally.
I was just in a Q&A the other day, and they had some of the teachers had said the importance of ballet, and
Yes.
now being on the other side, would you say that that's if you could go back, that was the one thing you would do better, or do you think?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, yes, of course. And the one thing I would say to everybody who's working is like, you have to continue to take class. Like, you know, you talk about the thing that Juilliard taught me was how to live life as an artist and how to work at it. And it's like, after your first Broadway show, you're not going to get to your 14th if you're not in class every day. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
great advice.
I think
Yeah.
especially now, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but with all the listen, I love So You Think You Can Dance. I love those things, but it's all about the flash. And I think that, going back to the basics and really like how your body moves and how you do it correctly is, I don't know if it's skipped over more now. I don't know. Do you see that in like the younger generation, that they're a little bit more flashy and not as rooted in technique?
I think some of them are doing it all. You know what I mean? The ones that are well trained can do ballet really well. They have good technique and they do that other stuff well. And yeah, sure, there's a lot of schools that still, fly over that stuff and just teach the tricks, and it's unsustainable, And it's not, the artistry of it is thinner.
So you took the bus up to the city to take a class at Broadway Dance Center, and you go to Juilliard. So you get out. Give us the step between Juilliard and swing. How did that happen?
When I graduated from Juilliard, I danced with Martha Graham for about 9 months, and they weren't really doing much touring at the time. It was sort of a tumultuous time in the company, so it was sort of unsatisfying for a young dancer with all this energy. I just wanted to be performing. So Momix was having auditions. So I jumped ship and auditioned for Momix and got in. So then for 2 years after I graduated from Juilliard, I just traveled all over the world with Momix, which is sort of like Pilobolus, it's Moses Pendleton's company. And it taught me a lot about choreography because we choreographed all of our own work. And I traveled all over the world for 2 years. And it was very exciting for the first year. And it was very exciting, the first time you're in Italy, then the second time you're in Italy, then like by the 5th time you're in Italy, you're like, I'm homesick,
Right.
So I always sang, and I always wanted to be on Broadway. So I just was like, I think I just want to do this, and I auditioned for swing, and it took me 8 times. I got cut because I had no equity card. I was non-union,
Right.
And on the 8th audition, I got the job.
Wow. Okay. That's
amazing.
That's great. So, and then you go on to 14 other Broadway shows.
That's a good lesson in perseverance.
Yeah. Seriously, show up 8 times. Keep going, right? Continue on.
Oh yeah.
So, and here you are 14 shows later, but all the while you seem to have had this choreography bug. I mean, you were talking about choreographing at Juilliard. You've done so many different styles of musicals too, like swing, Moving Out, which was that Twyla Tharp amazing contemporary stuff, American Idiot, which is Stephen Hoggett's like very pedestrian style work, How to Succeed. How do you just feel like you're naturally able to be a chameleon of style, or how does that work?
It's just all dancing. I don't even think of it as style. It's just sort of like, it's just sort of movement. It's all movement to me. Especially like leaving the Juilliard scene and the concert dance scene. It's like, swing was 10,000 times harder than anything I've ever done in all my years of concert dance. Like, there's no, all that intellectual BS about, different styles and different, what's harder or what's aesthetically more interesting or hoity-toity. I don't buy into any of it. I mean, it all is hard. It all is awesome. And it's sort of like, when you're in the room, whatever story you're in, letting your body behave as that choreographer and that director want your body to behave as. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, it's also about having a basis of technique that just gives you the freedom to then do anything on top of it,
Yeah.
I mean, at Juilliard now, they're teaching hip hop twice a week. Like, they're getting it now that there's,
Yeah, I mean, you've got to expand because of the world of So You Think You Can Dance, and that world of dance world that's sort of overtaking the television side of this whole dance industry is sort of driving that need to be a chameleon of style. But you're that original old school Broadway version of that, which is so like rooted in technique and artistry, which is so cool and so different. And I guess that's, looking back at like Mrs. Doubtfire, why you have this ability to pull out all of these different styles, which is very cool. Last question that we want to sort of talk about before we wrap things up here is this incredible, unprecedented year on Broadway. I mean, you look at this season and the fact that you are one of 9 women who choreographed 10 new musicals of 14 that either came in or were supposed to come into Broadway this year. What does that mean to you? What do you think that means for representation? And where do you think we go from here?
I mean, it's awesome. You know, they're all amazing choreographers. I think it's changing slowly. I find myself still being the only woman in the room, or, it's like there's 2 women in the room where there's 15 men. But I think that it's changing. And I have found, first of all, I approach things as an artist. I happen to be a woman, so certainly I have insight into certain things. And I have found that my collaborators are always interested in what I have to say about it. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not pedantic about it or mean about it, but it's like, I'm not sure that a woman might say that. A woman, I don't know, think about it this way. What if she felt, you sort of just put a proposal on the table about something. So I find that my male collaborators are very open to hearing a perspective that they might not have thought about before. And at the same time, I also feel like they see me as equals, and I don't get a sense of anything weird in the room with either men or women. I mean, I know I've been very lucky, but I think as a whole, just having more women on creative teams really just, again, make sure that everything we're saying on stage is more truthful. And if we want equality to be a thing, we have a big responsibility in theater to we're always leaders. We're always social leaders. What you see on stage, we try and create worlds on stage that we want the world to become. And we have to do the same thing behind the scenes creatively. So.
Oh, that's good.
I do love that you say that, we all are artists, but I have to say, as a woman, every time I see a press release with your name in it, I'm like, yes, Lorin, like, you know what I mean? It's like, you're like taking over the world. And Camille, I mean, I'm a huge Camille fan, and I do though have such a more of a visceral reaction when I do see, I mean, you're a role model for young dancers with your, extensive and beautifully long Broadway career. And now you're a role model as a choreographer. So yes, you are an artist, but to so many women, you're so much more than that, because we are very, very underrepresented. And I think you're right, it's changing. But I think that it is just, when you just, especially the past couple years, man, you have just blown up, and it chokes me up because, I saw A Taste of Things to Come when it was in Chicago. I sent you that message, and it's just like with every little step that you and your, the other women of this year are making, it's just, I'm like really getting choked up about it. It's just, it's meaningful. It's important. So even though you are an artist, you're a female leader in our community. And I think that where you've gone with your career is just astronomical. And I just, seriously, every time I see your name, I'm like, yes.
Thanks. It's honestly, it's the same thing that it's like why we're all still here. And it just, the stuff that the resume just racks up. I mean, it's fun to frame it that way, but it's actually the opposite. It's like when you love what you do and you don't mind hearing the word no so often, and you just keep plowing through, and you sort of, I just say, like, I drive my little dance car around the nose and going towards the yeses. And for every Broadway show I have, there's been 5 that I didn't get. And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you just keep going. And you learn with each thing. And if you stay humble and you stay a student and you just, it's like American Idiot. It's like, I got that job because somebody else turned it down. They didn't want to be an associate. And I was like, I'll be an associate to learn from Stephen Hoggett. Absolutely. And It's like, thank God I did, because it really opened up a whole new world of movement for me, which was mind blowing for me. It's like, at this point in my life, I thought I knew everything about dance. And then I left that show feeling like I relearned everything about movement. And so it's like, just stay open, it's like, so, and then things will happen. I mean, and that's how I'm approaching this too. It's like, we're all on pause, but we will move past this. Theater has, the Roman Empire fell, theater still moved forward. World War II happened, theater still came out after shutting down for a long time. The AIDS epidemic, so we will prevail sooner or later, for sure, because the need to tell stories around a campfire is as old as people are.
Right. Wow.
100.
Yeah, that's so good and so true, and so necessary, I think, for everyone to hear right now, to remember that. Lorin, you are just so wonderful, such an inspiration to us and to so many people. And we wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know everybody says that they're home and not doing anything right now, but we all know that we all have lives that we're leading even during this, and it's still crazy. So thank you for setting aside some time to hang out with us and share some beautiful words today. And thank you for putting up with Ellyn's ridiculous antics and unfair game. But
she won.
yeah. You're right. She did. She did win. But and for everybody listening out there, you can keep up with Lorin, follow her on her very active and fun Twitter and Instagram accounts, which you can, Lorin, what are your handles, just so people can follow you?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think on Twitter, I think I'm at Lorin Latarro. And on Facebook, you can Facebook friend me. And I think it's just my name.
Yeah, and I think on Instagram, you're just Latarro.
Oh, cool.
I think. I'll double check.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I must have been feeling cool that day.
And while we're at it, make sure you check out Broadway Trivia, where Ellyn, can you tell people where they can find that one more time?
Sure. We're on Instagram at Broadway Trivia.
Yeah, and the live shows too on Thursdays, correct?
Yeah, we're on Theater Mania. You can go and sign up on Theater Mania if you want to come play with us live on Thursdays at 7 p.m.
That's right. And then you can also, please, if you haven't checked out, my brand new blog is out. It is NYC Dance News and Culture, which you can find at nycdancenews.com. There is a ton more of what we're doing right now coming up on Pod De Deux. We've got, our quest is to get all 9 of the women who were slated or did choreograph Broadway shows this year. We do have a lot of amazing guests lined up. So we've got some interviews coming out. So make sure you keep checking Pod De Deux social media and the website. You can find Pod De Deux on Twitter and Instagram at Pod De Deux. And like us on Facebook, drop a comment. Make sure you tell us what you like, what you don't like. And make sure you keep out for all the upcoming episodes. And lastly, make sure you follow us. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Michael Mahany. Kevin, what's your socials?
I'm really cool, just like Lorin, and I'm just at Raponey.
Yes. Heels and all.
Heels and all.
Ellyn, what are you?
I'm at Ellyn Marsh with a Y, so ELLYN on all the things.
On all the things. And thank you guys so much for being champions of dance, Ellyn and Kevin. Thank you, Lorin, and thank you, listeners. We appreciate you guys so much. We wouldn't be here without you, and we will be back very soon with more Pod De Deux podcasts and more of the badass women of Broadway. We will see you all very soon. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Thank you.
Thanks.